Welcome to the Heart of Money podcast, where we discuss the personal and emotional elements of money and the impact that money has on every area of your life. I'm Austin Black, a personal finance coach that helps couples overcome their fear and frustration of financial management so they can take complete control of their money. What started as a desire to learn the fundamentals of money management has turned into a passion for helping couples work together to achieve financial success and strengthen their relationship with each other. Whether you're looking for the best strategies to manage your money as a couple, or you're tired of struggling to gain traction and want to overcome the fear and frustration associated with finances, I'm here to help, and this show is for you. Ready to learn more? Then let's talk about the Heart of Money. Hey folks, welcome back to the Heart of Money, episode 105. I am your host, Austin Black, joined by Mr. Robert Wessler. How are you this evening? It is this evening. It feels like this morning sometimes.
This is the Heart of Money podcast? Is that
This is the Heart of Money. Welcome.
Okay, I am in the right place. Okay, I pressed the right button on the elevator. Yep, I'm in the right spot. Fantastic.
Right spot, the wrong time.
That's another story. But anyway, I'm here. I am here. I'm present, and I'm not all the way on top of the microphone, but I'm pretty darn close.
But you're getting a good taste of it anyway.
Yeah. Cheetos.
It does sound good right now. We're going to have fun tonight, my friend. We came into this season with some ideas on what to talk about. Probably stuff we've talked about in the past. There's one topic that we intermingle with every episode that we do, but we never done an episode just on this. And some people may say this is self-serving. I think it is educational. I think it is something that we need to, talk more about. And that is why couples hire financial coaches.
Budgeting?
Right? We're
budgeting.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about budgeting.
Well, it's kind of the same thing.
Oh, okay. Because we talk about budgeting every time, and okay.
Kind of the same.
Let me go back to the elevator. I'll come back tomorrow.
Right. You and I were both financial coaches. We help people with their money, with their money management. But we never really spent time talking about why this is something that even exists, what we do for people, how we help people. This is not a sales pitch. This is an educational episode so that folks can learn what financial coaching really is, because we're not just two guys that like to talk about money. We are two guys that love to help people with their money. There's a big difference, as we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm excited for this because this is about who we are and what we do and how we help people, and that's what I am all about. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I'm thinking the self-serving part that, you're not charging for this episode. True. And we're not requiring a down payment, nor is anybody having to sign up by listening to us. So yeah, definitely educational, because we're going to get to one point where I think a lot of people get caught off guard by the difference between a financial coach and a financial advisor, and what the differences are, and really what the heart is behind what we do versus what other types of money management professionals do within their careers.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best places to start with this whole conversation, because we're going to talk more about why someone would hire a financial coach, not necessarily why you should hire us, but positioning us as the people in this field who can help in these regards if you so choose to go down that path. But number one thing that I feel like as a coach, there is a lot of confusion around is, what is a financial coach? Kind of teeing off of what you said there a minute ago about there being a big difference in being a coach and being a money manager or an investment advisor. A financial coach is really kind of still a new thing. I've been coaching for about 5.5 years now, and I still run into people who've never heard of financial coaching. They think that we are a financial advisor. There's still a lot of not so much confusion, but just lack of awareness and lack of understanding. But a financial coach is a very specific role that someone plays within the financial industry, and that's something that we're going to kind of dive in here a little bit. Um, and for me, the very first thing that I like to point out, and we do have some notes. I'm gonna go to the bottom of the list on this, Bob, because you already teed it off. Financial coach is not not an investment advisor. We're gonna hit that right out of the gate here. Not an investment advisor. Now, can a coach also do financial advising and be a licensed financial advisor? Yes, absolutely. I know coaches who do both works, but two very separate roles and responsibilities, and everything that they what they offer, what they teach, the point of it, two distinctly different services. Um, there are some things that I have kind of separated over the time in how I communicate what a coach is versus what an advisor is. And I like to always trace it back to financial coaches focus on progress. Financial advisors focus on products. And that's the biggest distinction that I've been able to make in helping someone understand what the difference is a coach helps someone with their behavior, with their habits, with their daily money management, with their debt reduction, with their savings, with their all of their money decisions that they're going to make on a daily, monthly, weekly, annual basis, whatever the case is. An investment advisor, financial advisor, they are only focused on building wealth, investing, long-term financial strategies. Now, can they help with some of those tactics? Absolutely, but that's not what they focus on. That's not what they sell. That's not what they are centered around. And that's where a lot of people will get confused by, well, okay, you're a financial coach. Can you help me with my investments? No, I can't. I'm not licensed to. I'm not experienced enough to. But I can help you get ready to go visit with a financial advisor. And that's where I really kind of distinguish what the role is between each of those two. What about yourself?
Yeah, I tend to say that a coach is more of a cheerleader from the standpoint of the encouragement aspect of a coach, or of the role just in of itself. Is that an advisor is somebody that is going to, like you said, be in a position that it's somebody that already has a nest egg and they're wanting to figure out how to best increase the amount that they have and diversify. Usually that's not a word we use a lot in coaching, because most people that are coming for a coaching opportunity, they're trying to get either started and learning how to better handle their money, or they have a specific issue that they need some, I'm going to use the word advice, but it's one of those that the greatest thing I like about the coaching aspect is I can give you some help. I can say, well, here's some things you could do, but it's ultimately on the person's their own ambition and their own will that they're making that decision. There's no commission off what we do. It is simply okay, what's the issue you have? Okay, now we're looking at it. Have you considered these things? It's walking people through what their options are, making sure that they've got everything on the table, thinking through it and saying, well, let's try this thing. Mm-hmm. Or not necessarily as a try it out and reiterate or iterate over and over with the idea of, well, we'll try this and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. No, it's hey, this is an option. You need to get out there with your own, I'm going to use the gumption word, get out there on your own, implement it. We'll come back and how did it work for you? Mm-hmm. Did it work the way you thought, or did you learn something else in the process? Do we need to change some things? And that's where you'll have the experience of, you fall down, you get back up. Hey, that worked right off the bat. Fantastic. We're on to the next thing. Or you're off and running and you hit a speed bump down the road. And then you come back and say, okay, well, how did this happen? Did you foresee? Was there emergency fund? And you kind of talk through the situations. Whereas other types of financial services are offering products for a specific need. This is more of a journey,
Yeah.
and determining what really works for the individual, and not trying to put you in a specific niche.
Yeah, I like your use of journey there. I think that's really important to identify, and that in of itself is the exact reason why when someone comes to work with me, it's a 12-month long program, because it is a journey, it is a process. You are not going to experience enough change and develop enough behavior and management, or behavior and habit management, in 2 or 3 months time to make a long-term difference in your life. But if we work together for 12 months, you're literally going to transform your understanding of money, your behaviors that you enact, the way you think about money, your mindset, your communication. You're going to leave the end of that program going, oh my goodness, I now have complete control of my money. I'm no longer afraid. I'm no longer frustrated. I know exactly what to do in any situation, because I have experienced multiple situations over the last year, and multiple conversations, have learned all the strategies, all the tactics, all the frameworks that can allow me to have complete control of my money for the rest of my life if I continue to implement these. And the elements that I feel like really separate financial coaches from an advisor, or I should say they separate the things that make a financial coach, because anyone can know about money, anyone can talk about money, anyone can have opinions about money,
And
but
they
a
do.
financial coach, what's that?
And they do.
Yes, yes. And your broke brother-in-law does not count. But a coach is really someone who they have the knowledge and the skills for financial management. Hands down, no question about it, they know how to manage money the right way, most importantly. There's a lot of people that think they know how to manage money, not so much. They know how to do it the right way, but then more important than that, they know how to teach you the right way and to motivate you to actually accomplish that objective. I've talked to people who they are very well versed with money management, but they don't really do a good job of teaching. And a coach is really can take you as a client, and they can help you understand and implement and stay motivated on that journey like you're talking about. So to me, those are two of the most important things of what a financial coach really, what they bring to the table from that standpoint. And the final thing, this is what sets the good coaches apart from the people who just want to be talking about money, is they know how to help their client find a new opportunity. They know how to lead them down that journey, lead them down that path, keep them open-minded, and help them consider things that they may have never thought about before, that their friends never thought about before, that their family never thought about before. Because like you and me, we've been there, we've done it, we've seen both sides of the equation. We know what works, we know what doesn't, and more times than not, we have discovered an alternative approach to what the rest of society normally does with money, so we can help lead that couple to making the best decisions for their money in the long term.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about coaches is, dare I say, we're shapeshifters, paradigm shifters for people. And you really keyed on it with the comment of being able to see things differently. And we've gone through 2 seasons now where we've hit on the way society handles money, the way that culture tells you how money should be used or spent, or what you should throw your money away on. And coaching says, let's back off, turn the TV off. In fact, do you have money for TV? Cut the cable or the streaming or whatever else. But it's really spinning the whole idea that many people have had about what money is for or how to use money, spinning it on its head and repurposing money as a tool that they are in control of versus something like we talked about last time that just happens to me.
Yes. Yeah, I think that is something that I have experienced in nearly every single conversation I've had with a client. And it's one of the reasons why I love talking about money. I love helping others understand money. I love teaching about money. But what I love about coaching is creating that paradigm shift in someone's mind, helping them see a different perspective, helping them understand a different approach or a different strategy, helping them to get past, as we talked about last time, those limiting beliefs so that they can free up their opportunity and their potential because they're not thinking about money the same way, because they're not talking about money the same way. Therefore, they're not going to keep managing money the same way. And that's what I really get jazzed up about in a coaching environment is being that outside perspective. Sometimes it's to challenge a client. Sometimes it's to motivate, to encourage. Sometimes it's just to question where are they at so I can help them get to a better spot and form an understanding based upon where they are mentally. They may be responding to money completely different than I, as a coach, am responding to money. And I've got to be able to meet them where they're at and then lead them to where I want to take them as a coach. And that's what gets me excited about this work is being able to create that shift, create that paradigm difference, and then seeing it click, seeing them realize what that is and seeing them succeed because they now have a different perspective around how they manage their entire financial situation.
Yep, the light bulb moment where all of a sudden that's changed and, oh, that makes sense on why I would do it that way. And I think throughout what you were saying, it's more back to, like I said, the cheerleader. It's the encouragement to take a different path or the encouragement to say, you can do this. It's hard. And we've had that conversation plenty of times.
Yeah.
But it's not normal. It is hard, and it takes months. You know, off the ground, it takes 3 months plus just to get started in the direction to say, okay, I'm going to try it somebody else's way. And just being able to get to the point where somebody goes, oh, I'm making changes. This is making a difference. It takes some time, which is with your 12 months makes a whole lot of sense as to why it's not a short-term thing, and it's not again, get rich quick is not the way that this would be termed at all, because it is a progression and it takes time to develop the habits, and sometimes you have to relearn the habits as you get further down through the process.
And the honest reality, there are dozens of coaches out there, dozens of financial coaches. Every single one of us has a slightly different strategy or mindset or process, approach. I bet that you are not going to find two coaches that teach and practice the exact same way.
Yeah.
You will find the common similarities, the common threads. The fundamentals never change, no matter who you're working with. The tactics of money management never change regardless of who you're working with. But the way that coaches connect and relate and communicate and guide and the details of what they teach, you're probably not going to find two coaches that do it the exact, verbatim same way, which is great because not everyone learns the same way. Not everyone is motivated the same way. Just like any other service, you're going to find someone that works for you and find someone that doesn't work for you. And same way, with coaches. But there are some similarities across the board that you'll find in how coaches, what they do to help people, the strategies, the tactics, the coaching elements that they enact. Like I even know you and I, we have different frameworks that we teach. We have different core pieces of content that we teach. We have different ways that we help folks manage their budget and communicate, but it's all centered around the same principles and the same concepts and the same philosophies. And one of those is to help couples create a plan and a strategy to manage their money and accomplish their financial goals. That really is the epitome of what we do. That is kind of the fundamental foundation. And what I really like about, you talked earlier there on sometimes it takes a few times of hearing stuff before it finally clicks.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've worked with a client and within the first quarter, in the first 3 or 4 months of working with them, I have shared the strategies that I would recommend, the tactics that I would recommend, and why I would recommend that. And they take it and they listen to it, they ask questions about it. They don't always implement it right away. And there's always some internal hesitation there around whether it is a limiting belief, whether it is uncertainty, whether it is I don't understand the real implication and impact of this on me. Whatever the case is, you get 6-8 months into that same process, and I keep talking about the same thing, and I may say it 3 and 4 times over that time period, and then they finally realize, oh, that is why he's recommending this. That is why this is an issue. That's why this is a better option. I understand it now. This, we had to break down those preconceived notions, those fears and those frustrations, and get to the heart of why is this a problem for you and why is this a better solution for you. And once they experience that dynamic, then it clicks. You're like, okay, you were right.
Yeah.
I should have done what you said the first time. I admit it. You knew what you were talking about. But it's fun seeing them have that realization because it's not about me being right. It's about them winning in the way that they think about money and manage money. So, trying to kind of connect the dots there on seeing that with clients and realizing that my job is to create that plan and that strategy. It sometimes takes that going back and forth of what is the plan, what is the strategy, why are we recommending this, to get that to kind of finally settle in sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my approach a little different from the standpoint of, and really it isn't all that different. It's just the way it's communicated and the way we go through the process of where are you starting out, where do you want to go, how do you want to get there, how quickly, and what is your desired end state? Mm-hmm. So that we're, there's that idea of beginning with the end in mind. Well, you're here for a reason. What brought you here? Where do you want to be as we move forward? And keep realizing that, those first few months, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's, I can hear you, a client saying, I can hear what you're saying, but it's not clicking, to finally getting to a point that the light bulb comes on. Mm-hmm. To say, this is starting to make sense and progress comes quicker. And it's not necessarily, I don't like the idea of I told you so, and maybe that's my audit background that, that just comes across as harsh because sometimes it's true. But or more often than not, but we won't go there. So just where a client says it's learning to trust a coach, that it's not, it's about helping more so than anything else, and seeing them down a path. And you made the comment about, with every coach being different, and I remember hearing this one time, is my thought process is I would love to help each and every person that comes to me, but not everybody's a fit. Yeah. And that's how it is on both sides of it. I might come across as abrasive to some I might drone on and on and on, and opposite way around. We never get past the first issue because there's more to it than just that issue. And somebody isn't moving forward. So it has to click on both sides for either the individual or the couple and the coach to make progress and to get to a stage of winning with money.
Yeah. Yeah, very well said. And that's why, when someone comes to work with me, there's honestly like kind of an interview process. I want to be dang sure that you are a good fit for coaching, because not everyone that has financial problems is a good fit for coaching all the time. And then I also want to make sure that you feel that I'm a good fit for where you want to go. I am not going to you may learn things from me that you don't want to embrace. You may not learn things from me that you would like to learn. I want to be sure that what I am providing is a good fit for where you want to go, what you want to accomplish, and that you are a good fit for what I expect out of a client from the standpoint of commitment and desire and willingness to learn, and all these things that it takes to actually win with money. But to your point of this continual cycle of trusting in the coach, a lot of what we do is we focus on the mind, not the money. That is so much of what we actually work on. At least,
It's the habits.
Exactly. In the frameworks that I teach, we spend so much time on your mindset, on the way that you think about money, the way that you react to money. And a lot of that comes with challenging their former beliefs, their former perspectives. There's a reason that what they have done up to this point has not got them to where they want to be. And we have to dismantle the fallacies that they believe or the limitations that are holding them back that they may not even realize themselves. And it's changing the way that you think about it, that you talk about it, and that you act around it, and that you respond to your behavior management. But in order to change your behavior, we got to change your mind, because you're not going to do something that you don't believe in, that you don't understand, that you aren't committed mentally to doing. And so that's something that I think happens on a continual basis. Every single time we get past one sector in the framework and in the curriculum, there's something new to begin to learn and to implement and to overcome a mental obstacle and a mental barrier and to change your perspective around it. So that's a continual process, and that's something that you do have to trust your coach. That's why not everyone's a good fit for everyone. You got to trust that they know where you want to go, that they are going to get you there. And once you have developed that trust, you're willing to do anything at that point. And that's where the richness of coaching really takes place, is when the client says, whatever you do, I believe that you're going to get us there. We're going to then commit ourselves to it, because we trust that your leading and your guiding is going to provide that result for us. And that gets everyone a win right there, I think.
I would agree. You said that so well. I'm at a loss for anything that would further that point. So I trust that you're guiding us in the right direction with this conversation based on the comments you have just made. So
I did my best. I did my best. I tell you though, the other two things that we have to be honest about, and what coaches do, we do address the problems. We do address the bad habits. We do address the negative emotions and the self-doubt and the things that are causing you to struggle and to fail. And that gets uncomfortable sometimes.
Very much so.
I mean, when you're talking about something that is painful, that's uncomfortable. I'll be honest, I take pride in the coaching sessions I have with clients. They continually come back and tell me, this is a safe place. I don't feel any judgment. I don't feel any shame. I feel like you're giving me the space to be honest with myself and to not critique what I don't know, and instead guide me and direct me to make the right decisions. And I've had multiple times where I have called the client out, not said that they were wrong or that they lied or anything negative, but I've called them out and basically asked them to prove to themselves what they are saying. And typically they end up going, well, I guess I wasn't right. Not maybe in so many words, but they realize that their belief was flawed, or their actions were misled, or what they were doing was simply not a good decision. And I will call those out, and I will address those with a client, because if I don't, I'm not serving them. I'm being the one that tickles their ears, not actually gives them that coaching experience. And some people don't like that.
Yeah.
About talking about money. They don't want to hear what they're doing wrong. So I think it's something that we got to be open around is we call out what we see as being a problem, and then we help you work through it, and we help you overcome that challenge so that you can continue to win with money.
And I think that is fundamentally what a financial coach is a person that is helping someone identify the issues and walking them through the process, or encouraging them to make the change, because it's not easy. It can be incredibly difficult, and there are cycles. There's a lot. There could be a lot of hurt feelings, and that's where the trust comes in. That, for me to call somebody out on something, they don't want to hear that. But that's the whole point of why somebody's coming to me, is that something's not working the way it should for them to better themselves. And they get to the point of either they do or they don't get to the point of saying, okay, I'm going to try it your way.
Yeah.
Or I could see that there's some merit to that, and I'm going to try it. And it really depends on the client to take the effort, because as a coach, you look at sports, the coach doesn't get out there and play for the players. The coach says, this is the play we're going to run, or identifies some weak spots in the defense and how the offense needs to run right through it. But they can't step on that field and do it for the players. And that's the other big piece of why we're called coaches.
The interesting dynamic that I have seen time and time again, let's just say that I work exclusively with couples, so husbands and wives. And many times the husband and wife will have a struggle communicating to each other, whether it's suggesting what they should do, or being resistant to something. They have this internal conflict of agreement, or obviously if they're not agreeing, they're disagreeing on the decision. One feels it should be this way, the other is reluctant, or feels it should be a different way, and they come to me, and I try to never take sides. I think that is a very, very bad way to coach someone, to say, well, I'm going to go over here on this side, and it's going to be a 2-against-1 deal. That is not a good coaching approach. But I will listen to both perspectives, and then I will begin to ask questions around why they agree or disagree with that, on both sides. And typically speaking, the one who was wanting to do something is usually making the right choice, and the other one is hesitant because they don't understand, or they're nervous, or they're concerned, or whatever the case is. So I help walk them through that. But the interesting dynamic to all of that is they can't come to an agreement amongst themselves. But when they come to me and ask for my advice, and we had that conversation where I lay out the emotions and the frustrations and the desires and the objectives and the goals and the fears and everything else, all of a sudden then it becomes where they can both find an agreement on the right decision, because we were able to actually have an outside perspective, and the answer didn't change, but their perception of how to get to that answer, and the fact that I wasn't involved in the relationship. Kids, they'll always listen to someone besides their parents a lot better. That allowed then both the husband and the wife to have an open mind and an understanding, and to come to agreement around where they needed to go. And honestly, I think that's a lot of what couples look for in a coach, is not necessarily be our peacekeeper, but be the person that we can trust. because sometimes we don't trust our spouse as much as we should. Be someone that we can trust, that we can listen to, that we can feel confident in what they are going to say because they've got that experience that our spouse may not have. I think that's a lot of where it comes from, honestly.
I just like to tell them both that they're wrong. Um,
I've done that too.
I you know, I'm just going to flat out say it. I like to tell that both of them are wrong and both of them are right.
Yeah.
And in most cases, one is more wrong than the other. And sometimes the one that might be more wrong, this is going to be completely a flip. They might be more right also because they're coming at it from a different perspective. And the one that thinks they're right, they've got a hint. And they're ready to go a direction. They're like, well, no, you got the other party. And you can tell they're hesitant, but they have good reasons for being hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
And letting them both know that they're trying to do the right thing, but they might not be going about it the right way,
Mm-hmm.
or there's some things they need to reconsider. They're both right, they're both wrong, and it gets them to where they start going, okay, now what are you going to bring to the table that's going to change our mind on where either one of us are at this point?
Yeah.
And that's not a one and done. That, again, trust and time.
Yep. I always kind of joke when I'm talking about the reason that couples have a hard time sometimes getting on the same page and finding that unity and finding that combined vision and being able to fix their finances on their own. Because I have yet to have a couple come to me and have zero chance of success with money. Has not happened yet. There's always been a possibility for improvement. But the reason they come to me is they cannot communicate in the same fashion, understand the same, and have the same mindset around understanding money, and therefore they cannot come to an agreement and a unified vision and develop their own strategies and tactics and objectives and next steps to accomplish that. So my joke is always that if a husband and wife disagree upon a money decision, like you said, they're both right and they're both wrong. But the key difference is if you dig down to the desire, they may have different approaches and different strategies, different fears, different things that they are excited about. But you get down to the why. Why is this even a topic of discussion? Why is this something that we want to avoid or we want to achieve? You get down to the why of it, and nearly every single time we can find a level of agreement and a level of understanding that drives what that decision is. Once we find that, then we are on the same page at the core of what the decision is, and it's really a matter of deciphering how do we communicate to each other our agreements around this and understand where we are different around this so we can have that unified decision in the end. But nearly every single time, they both want the same thing at the core of it. They just got to figure out how to agree upon the strategy and acknowledge the desires and the fears of each other to accomplish that end goal. People don't even realize what all you get whenever you hire a financial coach. The way that we help people, the way that we focus on strategies and behavior management and habits, it goes way beyond budgeting. It goes way beyond how to pay off your debt. It goes way beyond the basics of money management. It is a in-depth look at how do you respond to money? How do you make financial decisions? If you're working with me, how do you do it as a couple? How does that affect your marriage? And why is that such an important part of your life to make sure that your money is managed well so your marriage can flourish and vice versa? And that is a key piece to the entire coaching environment that I find myself in with clients is focusing upon strategy, focusing upon tactics, focusing upon a mindset, focusing upon habits and behavior management, and combining all of that to make it possible for you to win with money every single day the rest of your life.
And it's the whole reason that the name of this podcast is what it is you're getting to the heart of money with what you're doing or with what we're doing. I don't use the heart aspect of it as much as setting the foundation and building on that foundation to get to a desired future. So I think really when somebody would come to either one of us, that's really what we're getting to is it's not about the money. It's about the heart and the attitudes and the habits that somebody has that affects how they spend money or affects how they don't spend money. And realizing that person or that couple realizing that something's not right with where they are and they need somebody with an outside perspective to say, what do we need to change?
Yeah.
And there's a bit of humility in that. And one of the comments that was said last time was, the idea of pride is that you really have to put your pride away because in some cases that pride is the stumbling block to why either you're in this situation or pride is going to keep you from being able to achieve what you want to do just because it's in the way and you've got to get past that point. So there is, going back to that comment before, of you're looking for people that are teachable, that are coachable, that there's some humility and it's not just, hey, fix me on this, because it's not that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so next time, we're going to talk about why couples hire financial coaches. What are the reasons that people seek these professionals out, seek you and I out, and engage with us and invest in us, because it's an investment in ourselves, obviously. But why do they do that? And then more importantly, what's the result that you get out of hiring a coach? What is the tangible and sometimes intangible, but the life-changing result that you experience whenever you work with the coach? So I'm excited to have that in our next conversation as we kind of continue this chatter. But yeah, with this, there's a lot of good stuff here that I feel like if folks can listen to this episode, they can get a better grasp on what a financial coach is, what they do, why it is such an important piece in your financial journey. Whether you feel like you manage money or not, we can all do better, right? So is there a way that a financial coach can benefit you? We're going to talk about that more in the next episode. So I'm excited to have that, Bob.
Looking forward to it.
We'll talk to y'all next time on The Heart of Money.